So thank you all for joining us for the Grad School Prep overview of the Graduate School Application Process Workshop. Joining us today is Lori Filippo, Assistant Director of Recruitment and Admissions. She is going to discuss the ins and outs of identifying graduate programs and preparing your applications. So I'm going to hand it over to Lori.
Thank you so much, Marlena, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for the overview of the graduate school application process. So like Marlena mentioned, my name is Lori Filippo. I am the Assistant Director of Recruitment and Admissions. We will go ahead and get this presentation out to you, so feel free to go ahead and take notes down, but it'll be recorded and you'll have the presentation afterward as well. But let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we like to go over is if you're not already sure what program you may be interested in, we want to go over how to select a program. So here at UNLV, we have over 175 different graduate programs with over 40 different professional degrees. So it's a lot of programs. So you may be wondering, okay, where do I even start? So the one thing that we recommend is actually starting with the outcome. So what career do you want to go for? And then based off of that, what kind of degree do you actually need for that specific career? So you're kind of going backwards with it. So maybe you're already working, maybe you're doing an internship, and you want to stay in that field. And then you may want to see if you can reach out to anybody and figure out what program do I need to keep going further in this, to move up in the company. So look at the career first. You also may want to think outside your bachelor's degree. So some people feel that they may have to continue on with the degree they got in their bachelor's when they want to go for their master's or their PhD. But that is not always the case. So you maybe have a degree in education for your bachelor's, but maybe you want to go into business for your master's. A lot of our programs don't require that you have a bachelor's in a specific field. So definitely check out our programs and think beyond your bachelor's. Just because you got a degree in one thing doesn't mean you have to keep going on with that particular degree. And then research various fields and reach out. So what fields complement your skill sets? Who do you know that works in those fields? So again, if you're interning, if you're doing any kind of work, maybe you can reach out to some professors that you had. Reach out to those that are similar to the one you want to do and see maybe why they chose that path. Is there a certain career that they realized, hey, if I got this degree in this field, this will actually help me better in this profession. And then you can always schedule a meeting with the graduate college recruitment team. Our contact information is there. And we'll help you out, go over our programs. Like I said, we have a ton of programs. So we want to make sure you're finding the right one. You also will want to research and apply to programs rather than the school. So what do we mean by that? A lot of our programs fall under maybe the business school. But look at the programs within it. Each university has different systems. Some are centralized and some are decentralized. Start narrowing down your programs, and you'll want to do this early. Again, 180 programs is a lot. You'll want to start doing that research, and with the deadlines, each of our programs has a specific deadline. So you'll want to make sure that you're going through the process, start narrowing down the programs, really seeing which one will be the best one for you, so you're not wasting any time, any money, and you're getting your application and materials in by that specific deadline. Each of our programs does have a specific graduate coordinator assigned to them. So please also feel free to reach out to the graduate coordinator, the faculty. If you know any professors, reach out to them. Maybe you can get more specific information from them. Really figure out, again, is this the right program for the type of career that you want to go into? What kind of classes? What are they looking for when you apply to their programs? So reach out to them, let them know your name, your face, make an appointment with them, and again, seeing if this is the right fit for you. We do have a page with all of our program deadlines on our website. So make sure you're checking out those deadlines. The deadlines are non-negotiable, and not all of our deadlines are the same for every single program. Oops, let me go back. So definitely check it out. Some of our programs only offer admissions once a year. Some do it for the fall, spring, and summer. So definitely look at it, make sure you're getting everything in and you're checking out the specific deadline for your program. Okay. Once you're ready then to apply to UNLV, graduate college, you'll start, what we like to tell students is the application process is a very holistic approach. So you're going to have a lot of things that you'll have to submit for your application, transcripts, possibly recommendation letters. You might have a GMAT or a GRE, depending on your program. You might have a statement of intent. But we tell students that really the programs use a holistic approach when they review your application. So they're going to look at everything as a whole. It's a whole package. They're not just going to look at your GPA. They're not just going to look at the letters of recommendation. They're going to look at everything. So keep that in mind, because some students may feel, well, I have a really low GPA. But again, keep in mind they're looking at everything. So when you get ready to apply, you're going to apply online through the Grad Rebel Gateway. This is your online, basically, hub for everything. So you'll go ahead, submit your application. You'll submit all of your documents through the Gateway portal. You'll be able to find some information in this portal as well, really who your graduate coordinator is. This is where you'll be able to do your scholarships, assistantships, if you're interested in applying for any of those. This is all going to be done in the Grad Rebel Gateway. The application fee is non-refundable. So it is $95 for international students and then $60 for domestic students. And again, check out your deadline. So all of your applications and supporting documents have to be into the Grad Rebel Gateway by that deadline in order to be considered for admission. This portal will also be where you can check the status of your application. So once you submit everything, it's going to say that your application is under grad review, and that means that we're going through our review process first. Then once we complete our process, it'll say it's under departmental review, and that's how you know that the department is reviewing it for a final decision. So again, this is where you will basically going through the whole process, checking the status, and once a decision is made, you'll be able to view your decision letter in this portal as well. So deadlines, again, right? We can't stress this enough. Check the deadline. Make sure you're planning ahead. If your program only admits once a year, be aware of that deadline. There are some programs that only offer admissions during the fall terms. You may have to take a GRE or GMAT test. Make sure if you need to practice for that, make sure you're doing practice exams, looking at the resources available so that you're giving yourself plenty of time to get these tests completed. You may also want to reach out to the coordinator if you do have to complete any of these exams, just to confirm what score is needed for your program. Sometimes it may not be written on the program page, so definitely reach out to the coordinator if you have any questions if there is an exam. You also want to give yourself time if you have to do any personal statements, letters of recommendation, if you have to do any writing samples. Recommendation letters can take some time. Recommenders may need some time to write those letters for you. So make sure you're giving them enough time before the deadline hits to be able to write the best letter for you. Speaking of the deadlines, now again, each of our programs has a specific deadline, but if you are an international student, you also have a specific deadline. So if your program admits in the fall, and that's when you're looking to apply, you need to get your application and materials in by May 1st. For spring admissions, it would be October 1st, and summer would be March 1st. If the department has an earlier deadline than these three dates, then you'll have to go off that earlier deadline. The reason we do this for international students is because we need to make sure you get your application in on time, and because more importantly, the visa process, right? The visa process can take a lengthy time. So we want to make sure that you have plenty of time to get everything completed, get accepted, and then go through the whole visa process before attending with us. Okay, so once you get everything in, your application, as mentioned, will first be reviewed by the graduate college. So the graduate college, what we look for is at least a bachelor's degree from a regionally accredited institution, or an approved international equivalent. You need to have at least a 2.75 for your undergrad degree. If you do not have a 2.75, we look at the last 60 credits, and we need to see that you have at least a 3.0. We need to see transcripts from each post-secondary institution that you attended. We'll need to see the transcripts in the original language, and if it's not in English, we'll need an English translation as well. Depending on the degree that you are going for, we may also need to see a course-by-course foreign credential evaluation. And if you are international, we will also need to see the proof of English proficiency. So this would be like your IELTS, PTE, the Duolingo, the Michigan test, or if you completed a post-secondary degree from an institution where English is the primary language of instruction. So if you're completing your degree at UNLV, getting your bachelor's degree, then you don't have to worry about the English proficiency test. We can go ahead and use that. Okay. So personal statements. Now, this is a requirement that the department may want or may ask for you for some of your programs. It's a very common requirement for a lot of our programs. So what is a personal statement? So the personal statement, it may on your application, it might say that you have a personal statement, or it might say a statement of intent. These are usually submitted for graduate and professional school applications. So let me go to the next one. Usually they are a paper that really explains why you'd be a good fit for the program. So typically these papers are 1 to 2 pages in length. You'll want to write them to a specific audience. So sometimes the program may say specifically who they want you to address it to. Otherwise, you may just want to say Program Graduate Admissions Committee. You'll want to use multiple paragraphs. Make sure you're using the standard font and size. So like when you're doing the essays for school, go ahead and kind of follow that format. You'll want to make sure you're maintaining a professional tone. And then really identifying why you're applying to the program, why you would be a good fit for the program that you're wanting to go into. So if you're interested in a graduate program, you may want to talk about what your research interests are, where this will take you, what are you looking to do afterward, maybe touch on the career you're interested in. So this is kind of like your one way to really talk to the committee and tell them why you should be accepted into the program. So this is one thing that you definitely want to take your time on, make some edits, have other people read it. Professional, if you're going into, let's say, law school or dental school, you may want to talk about your qualifications, maybe some of your career goals. And then for both of them, what do you think you can bring to the program? Now, the only thing with statement of intent is sometimes programs will have specific requirements that they want for their statement. So one example is the MBA, the Masters of Business Administration. So what they say is they do want you to complete a written statement of purpose. You can see here, it does say it has to be double spaced, 1 to 2 pages. They want the 12 print font. And then they give you key phrases and words on what they want you to write about. So they say they want you to address how the MBA experience will assist you in meeting your professional career goals. They want you to include a description and then of the leadership and managerial attributes you'll bring to the program. So they're very specific on what they want. So we wanted to kind of go over what you may want to consider writing for this. So for this, you may want to talk about, again, how is this degree going to help with your career goals? What are you doing right now? Maybe you're already working in a field for business and you want to really show how this will continue and help you move up in the company or move forward. What are your career goals? How will maybe this degree help you reach those specific goals? What are your goals after the completion of the grad degree? Are you looking to go forward? Are you looking to continue on with education? What kind of work will you do after you graduate if you're in the field right now? And then, of course, talking about your leadership and managerial attributes, and then maybe some past work and academic experience. How did that help you? How did that bring you over to this program? And of course, how can you make a contribution to that program? So some general personal statement writing tips. What we say is, make sure you're concrete, give specific examples, write multiple drafts. This again goes back to the deadline, checking the deadline for your program and making sure you have enough time for this personal statement. Because again, this is like your one way of talking to the committee on why you would be a good fit for their program. So take multiple drafts, have other people read it. Make sure you're taking your time with it. Have a thesis or unifying theme. Use topic sentences and of course be honest. Don't be generic, use obscure vocabulary. Don't write your whole life story, and don't rewrite your resume. Your resume may already be required anyway. Some programs require it, some don't. But you don't want to rewrite what's already required of you, right? So don't rewrite your whole resume, and of course, don't make stuff up on it. Okay. Another requirement from some of the departments, I will say most of them, will require from you letters of recommendation. So letters of recommendation are an important part of the application process. Now, these, just the opposite, they allow others to speak on your academic and professional achievements and why you would be a good candidate for graduate study in that specific field. So most programs will require 2 to 3. So again, you'll want to start thinking early who you may want to have write these letters for you and who can actually write strong letters of recommendation for you. The admission committees do take these letters of recommendations seriously. So for these letters, I will say some programs, they may not even start reviewing your application until they receive these letters. These are very, very important for some programs. Choosing recommenders. So graduate programs, because of their focus on research, usually they will want to have academic references, which usually means past professors. But your program will let you know specifically who they want, what they're looking for. Maybe they will want at least one academic, maybe one professional. They'll let you know exactly what they want on there. Professional programs will be looking for letters of reference from individuals that can speak to your fitness for the career that goes with the degree. So again, it really just depends on which program. If you're going for a graduate program, if you're going for a professional, those dental law degrees, what kind of individuals they may want the letters from. You may want to think of professors or people working in the field, maybe ones that inspired you, ones that you worked along with. Maybe you did some lab or work with them. Maybe you helped teach them some courses. Maybe they supervised you, were a mentor to you. So definitely think of those type of professors. And don't worry if you've been out of school for a while. Professors, they do remember their students, and it's not bad either when you do reach out to them. It's just kind of giving them that to remind them of what you did for them. And we'll go over that in the next slide. So asking for letters of recommendation. So to get these letters of recommendation, you will want to reach out. We usually suggest doing it via email and early in the process because they need time to write the letter. And so you want to make sure that they get it in. The letters have to come from your recommender. It cannot come from you. They will get a link from us, which we'll discuss a little bit later. But just keep that in mind. So you'll have to reach out to them. And then once you make them a recommender, they are going to have to write the letter and send it over to us. So a request letter that you may want to send them, make sure it's professional greeting. If it's been a while, reintroduce yourself. You may want to request for a meeting with them to talk about the recommendation, maybe go over with them what you're looking at doing, how you're looking to apply for grad school, which program you're looking to apply for. Maybe let them know, hey, here's what we've done in the past together, what courses I've taken with you, projects that you've worked with on them. And then definitely let them know what the deadline is for the application. To get excellent letters of recommendation, you may want to send them a copy of your personal statement. Doesn't have to be a final draft, but this will then let them know, again, why you want to be in grad school, why even more, why you want to go into that certain program. And it just kind of helps them follow on to that lead. And then they can really go ahead and tell us more why you would be a good fit. Some information that will allow them to be, really specific in their letter. So professors, if you had a past professor, you may want to send them a copy of a paper or project you did while you were in their class. If it was a supervisor, maybe talk about the past work experience or projects that you did with them, just so that it's in their mind, and then they can go ahead and maybe touch on that in their letter. You may want to give them a few details about what you hope to study in your programs, kind of falling back on that personal statement. Again, deadlines, when this has to be submitted by. And then you may want to also mention if you want to be a graduate assistant for your program. Even though it's the letter of recommendation for you to get accepted into your program, they may be able to write something in there about why you may be a good fit or may qualify to be a graduate assistant as well. Because again, remember, these are being read by the department, so they'll be able to see in there what they're writing about you and why you'd be a good fit for not only the program, but also as a graduate assistant. So for the recommenders, you'll do this through the Grad Rebel Gateway, so where you did your application. Again, the recommendation letters must come from the recommender. We cannot take them from the student. So if they send them to you, we'll end up telling you, no, I'm sorry, we cannot take it. Either your recommender has to email it to us directly, or they have to send it through the link that we'll send them. So when you're on your application, you're going to see a section just like this called recommendation. And you'll have to fill out all the information for your recommender. So you'll do the first and last name, their email address, phone number, and if you choose to waive your right to view their letter or not. Then you'll go ahead and hit send email to recommender. And right away, they'll get an email from us letting them know, hey, Jane Doe went ahead and asked you to be a recommender. Here's how to submit the recommendation for them. And then they'll be able to submit it right through the portal. Now, I know sometimes students will tell me that maybe they don't get the link or it's not working. If that's the case, your recommender can always email their recommendation letter directly to gradadmissions@unlv.edu, and we will upload that recommendation letter directly to your application. So some final tips: decide on your recommenders. Make sure you're reaching out to them. Again, via email is usually the best way. Start providing them with copies of your personal statement, your writing samples, maybe if you have any portfolios, getting them to remember, the work that you've done together, and just getting stuff in their mind so that they know what to write. Make sure you enter their information on the Grad Rebel Gateway, and then really it's just be patient. It does take some time. And remember, if you have any questions or need to make changes, you can always reach out to our team and we'll help you out if you need to do any changes with the recommenders. Okay. The other thing I want to mention is we do offer resources as well to help you through the process. So we have over 250 events and counting I will say right now we have all events set up until I believe December. And then after that, we'll get the rest for the next term. But definitely check out our calendar. We do have events for Grad School 101 and Paying for Grad School, where we'll go more in depth about graduate assistantships, how to apply to the grad school. Grad School Applications 201, that will cover more of the specifics that the department is looking for. So kind of what we touched on now with the personal statements, letters of recommendation. We'll also go over the GMAT and the GRE. And then we also have drop-in sessions. So maybe if you start your application, if you get in there and you just have a lot of questions, may need to know where to submit your documents, you can always come to one of our drop-in sessions. They are virtual and in person. We do have fairs and tabling events that you can always stop by and chat with us there. And also departments do have specific events. So I know we actually have one tomorrow for MBA. So you're more than welcome, check them out. You may even want to reach out to your program and see if they have any specific events for your department. Usually they will do them alongside with us, so then you'll have the grad college information and you'll have department information and a rep from them, so you'll be able to ask them specific questions. So check out our website for all the upcoming events, or you can always reach out to us at gradrecruitment@unlv.edu. This is our location. We are located at the University Gateway building on the second floor. We are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So you're more than welcome to reach out to us, set up a meeting. You can walk in if you'd like, but come and chat with us. We're here to help you out to go over any kind of programs, the application process, any questions that you may have. And this is a picture of our team. So you can see we are a very small team, but the one thing I'd like to show here is that we do have graduate assistants that work for us. All of our GAs are in different programs, and so they're more than happy to tell you about their experience, what it's like to be a student as well as a GA. So please feel free to come in and chat with one of our graduate assistants if you'd like, and kind of get their experience from everything. And with that, I'll go ahead and pass it back to Marlena, but thank you again for joining us. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
We'll take a few minutes to see if anybody has any questions. You can unmute yourself or drop them in the chat. Or if you want it to remain anonymous, you can directly chat me. So if anybody has any questions, we are here to answer them. And thank you, Lori, that was great.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
For students that are attending for Gradable Advantage, to get credit for attending today's workshop, you'll just log on to your Gradable Advantage Canvas module or Web Campus module, and you'll submit the title, date, and time of this workshop. And since we are on WebEx, we have record of your attendance. So just the title, date, and time. And this counts towards your guys' elective workshop credit. So make sure you're submitting it in the correct section or we will send it back to you. If a program says letter of recommendations are optional up to 3, how many should I submit?
Are optional up to 3. That's a new one. I don't know if I've seen the optional up to 3 on there. I always tell students at least do 2 to 3. Now, what you may want to do, because the recommendation letters are departmental requirement, you may want to reach out to the graduate coordinator for that specific program. If you go on the program page, scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see the graduate coordinator for that program. You're more than welcome to reach out to them. Their email and phone number should be there. You may want to reach out to them specifically and just say, hey, I'm showing it says optional up to 3. Does the department prefer 3 though? Would this make me more competitive? Kind of see what they say, and then they'll also be able to let you know exactly who they want those recommendation letters from. But usually we typically say 2 to 3, but if it's saying optional, I would probably reach out to the graduate coordinator of that program just to confirm and see exactly what they're looking for.
And make sure the optional part is referring to like it might be like 3 are required and then it's optional afterwards, because that's how it was for me at least. But I went ahead and I submitted 3 because mine were mostly professional recommendations, so I was able to ask my coworkers and my boss for that. Lori, how much will my program cost? Can you touch on the tuition estimator that UNLV has?
You know what? Let me see. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen really quick. Is that okay? And then see if I can pull that up, our estimator.
Yes.
Okay. Now, this may vary depending on what your situation is, if you're an international student, if you're a Nevada resident or not. So it may vary between that. But let's see. So registration fees, so just your tuition alone would be, let's see, now this is for the spring semester as well. So keep in mind for the fall, we don't have the fall tuition out yet. And usually each fall it does increase a little bit. So for spring, right now we're looking at $314 per credit. And then you'll also have the fees added onto it. So what I did is I used our estimator. I can put it in the chat for you. Drop this in the chat. Okay. So for 9 credits, usually for a full-time grad student, it's 3 courses or 9 credits. For 9 credits as a grad student, if you're a new student, if you are not international, and if you're a Nevada resident, you're looking at around 5,100. Now, this does include the mandatory health insurance fee. The health insurance fee is about $1,700, but I will say if you have your own health insurance, you can waive out of ours. So when you use the estimator, keep that in mind. It's going to show you everything, including that health insurance. But if you waive out of it, then you can just go ahead and deduct that fee. Just keep in mind though too, when you do sign up for your courses, if you are looking to get out of our health insurance, make sure you fill out the form with the health insurance website to get that off your tuition. But again, check out the estimator because it may vary depending on what your situation is. Again, if you're an international student or if you're not a Nevada resident, the fees may change. But for someone that is a new student, roughly about 5,100 would be from one semester for nine credits or 3 courses.
Thank you, Lori.
Yep.
What are some simple things that I might overlook that could make or break my application?
That's a good question.
I can start. Make sure you don't make any spelling mistakes. You'll want to like proofread everything a few times. I would even recommend you taking it maybe to the writing center, and having someone else take a peek at it.
Yeah, no, that's excellent advice, honestly. I mean, as UNLV students, you have full access to that writing center. So yeah, like Mar mentioned, if you're doing those statement of intents, personal statements, anything like that, take it over there. Have someone read it over again. That's why we talk about those deadlines so that you can make a few edits, a few copies of it. So yeah, definitely a good point with that. And the other thing is like, I just always tell students, just make sure you're reaching out to the coordinators. Sometimes it's very brief what it says on their program information page on what they want. So if you are confused at all or have any questions, contact the coordinator. They'll let you know, what specifically they're looking for, how to make your application competitive with other students. So definitely take, the opportunity, reach out to them. They do not mind you contacting them. So just make sure you're reaching out and really seeing what is required from them. Getting everything early. Just, make sure you're looking at everything. Don't rush with it. There's going to be a lot of things that are required for your application. So make sure you're taking your time, but getting it in by the deadline. So definitely, I would say start early by just looking at, okay, here's the program I want. What is all required of me to submit my application for this program? And then really lay it out, just stay organized with it, and know that we're here to help you. So if you have any questions or need anything, we'll definitely help you out with the process. Trying to think what else.
Lori, do you have like a recommended spot that students can find the graduate coordinator for specific programs?
If you're on any program page, that's really the best place to look. So if I can share my screen for a program page, just to give you an example of what it looks like. Okay, can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So when you're on the graduate college homepage, what you're going to do is go ahead and scroll down like midway, and it'll say explore programs. You'll go ahead and click learn more. There we go. And then you can always search for your program if you know what you want to go for. If you scroll down, it'll show you the list of all the programs that we do offer. And let's just start with the first one, right? So Masters of Science in Accounting. If you are interested in that program, you'll go ahead and just click Masters of Science in Accounting. And then on this, so this would be the program page. So on this page, it'll tell you first briefly about that specific program. If you're ready to apply, you can even hit apply right there or view it in the catalog. When you scroll down a little bit more, all of our programs will tell you the plan and mission requirements. This is what you want to look for as well. So this is going to tell you specifically what this program is wanting to see from you in order to be considered for their program. So for this one, you can see a bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university. They don't want anything specific. They're just saying a bachelor's degree. And they tell you specifically what GPA you want. So in our presentation, we said at least a 2.75, but you can see some programs may want a little bit higher GPA that they're looking for. They'll tell you if they want the GMAT or GRE and so on. So make sure you're looking at what their specific requirements are. Now for the graduate coordinator, if you scroll all the way down, they'll be at the very end. So you'll see graduate coordinator is Dr. Sharon, and you'll be able to get her email and her phone number as well as her office. And yeah, just reach out to them directly. If you have any questions about those specific admission requirements, and they'll be able to let you know exactly what they are looking for.
Thank you, Lori.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions? Well, I'm not seeing any, so thank you so much, Lori, for sharing your expertise and time with us today, and thank you to everyone that joined us. Before you log off, if you could just take a few minutes to fill out the workshop feedback survey. I just dropped it in the chat. It means so much to us, and it helps us improve workshops in the future. With that being said, I hope everyone else has a great rest of your day. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.